Here come old flat top, he come grooving up slowly. These iconic lines mark the start of a great Beatles track. Welcome to History of a Song. Join me as we explore the Beatles epic today, Come Together. I'm Mitch Bradford. I'm a singer-songwriter with over 1 million streams on Spotify, and I love songwriting. Also, remember to like, share, and subscribe this video so we can create more great songwriting content for you. Thanks so much. Now let's quickly set the stage. Who were the Beatles? The Beatles were George, Paul, John, and Ringo. And it's 1969. What was happening in 1969? Well, a lot of things. First, there was the Apollo 11 moon landing. 1969 was the year of Woodstock, and it was also a year where the Vietnam War was in full swing. And as part of that, in early 1969, John Lennon and Yoko Ono held nonviolent protests against the Vietnam War. These were dubbed as bed-ins for peace. During these bed-ins, John and Yoko would stay in bed all day and use their image and notoriety to conduct interviews, play music, and overall advocate for peace. The first bed-in was in Amsterdam in March 1969, and during the second, more publicized bed-in in Montreal in June 1969, countercultural figures like Dick Gregory, Allen Ginsberg, and Timothy Leary visited. Who was Timothy Leary? He was a Berkeley-educated psychologist, he taught at Harvard, and he did extensive research around the use of LSD, especially the potential therapeutic and mind-expanding properties of these substances. Lennon admired him. So when Timothy Leary intended to run for governor of California later that year, Leary asked John Lennon to write him a campaign song based on the slogan, "Come together, join the party." The result was a one-line chant, "Come together and join the party." And I guess at the second bed-in in Montreal, this was a chant everyone joined in on. Lennon promised to finish and record the song, and Leary later recalled Lennon giving him a tape of the piece, although the two did not interact again. So fast forward to later that year, it's July 1969, we're at the sessions for the Beatles' final album, Abbey Road. And in the sessions, Lennon took the phrase "come together" from the Timothy Leary campaign song to compose a new song for the album. He based the melody for Come Together off Chuck Berry's 1956 single, You Can't Catch Me, and it even borrows a similar line for its opening lyric. Chuck Berry's lyric goes, "Here come a flat top, he was moving up with me," while John Lennon's lyric begins, "Here come old flat top, he come grooving up slowly." During the session, when McCartney noticed its similarity to You Can't Catch Me, he recommended they slow the song down in tempo to reduce its resemblance. Thus, the creation of a new song, Come Together, began. On July 21st, 1969, the Beatles taped the basic track for Come Together at EMI Studios, now Abbey Road Studios, in Studio 3. George Martin produced the session, and the session marked Lennon's first new composition for the band in 3 months, having last recorded The Ballad of John and Yoko on April 14th, 1969. The group taped 8 takes of Come Together, with take 6 marked the best. And the band's lineup on the track consisted of Lennon singing lead vocal, McCartney on bass, George Harrison on rhythm guitar, and Ringo Starr on drums. Overdubbing for Come Together took place the following week in Studio 2. McCartney added some swampy piano on top by a Fender Rhodes electric piano, while Harrison played a signature lead guitar solo with the Gibson Les Paul during the song's coda. After some mixing, Come Together was finished on August 7th, 1969. Almost a month later, on September 26th, 1969, Apple Records released Abbey Road with Come Together, its opening track. It's amazing how quickly singles used to be released after production. Come Together was a massive success. It reached number 1 in the US, number 4 in the UK, and stayed on the US Billboard Hot 100 for 16 weeks. Even Ringo Starr, in a 2021 interview with Stephen Colbert, said it was his favorite Beatles song ever. Alright, so now that we've dove into some of the song's history, what does the song mean for you? What's its meaning? Well, first, let's take a look at its lyrics. Here come old flat top, he come grooving up slowly. He got juju eyeball. He won holy roller. He got hair down to his knees. Got to be a joker. He just do what he please. There's an element here of the Beatles just using words to create associations. He got the juju eyeball. He got old flat top. The holy roller. Pious, uptight figure contrasted with another hippie-like figure with hair down to his knee. All these associations are creating a vibe and energy rather than a literal meaning. It has some sense of 50s beat poetry layered on top of a late 60s sound. It feels improvisational, free, and sort of dangerous. But there's something more specific lingering under the surface of this wordplay, something about freedom. And I think it's why Lennon's vocal emphasizes the line, "One thing I can tell you is you got to be free." This feels like a constant theme in Lennon and the Beatles' work, the need for freedom, for self-expression, the belief that being a full human being necessarily means being free, to be able to live and express oneself without limits. There's also a historical layer to this song I find interesting too. The band, in the midst of breaking up, all coming together to sing Come Together Right Now Over Me. You have Lennon's lyric, McCartney's piano, Ringo's cascading drums, and George Harrison's perfect solo all coming together for a beautiful mix. Physically they're together, lyrically they're together, but emotionally, well, we know behind the scenes the Abbey Road sessions were intense. Previous sessions for the White Album had been rife with conflict. George Harrison, when speaking about Abbey Road, recalled that it felt like we were reaching the end of the line. So maybe the song is also an unconscious desire for the band to stick together, to recognize that coming together was the only path for saving the band and saving the music. And maybe all the harsh images of the muddy water, the Mojo filter, the roller coaster, with the forces of fame, creative destruction, chaos, all coming against them, against their sound, against their message. Or maybe that's all bull. The song was not without controversy either. It faced lawsuits from Big 7 Music, the publisher of Chuck Berry's You Can't Catch Me. It found reinvention and distinct covers from Ike and Tina Turner in 1969, Godsmack in 2012, and perhaps this is biased by my childhood, but Aerosmith's 1978 version is a standout on the iconic 1998 soundtrack to the movie Armageddon. All right, now let's turn the tables. What does the song mean for you? Is Come Together about the need for self-expression? Is it an anthem to a life without limits? Or is it more about the free association of meaning, a vibe, an energy, a wordplay? Or finally, is it a swan song of a band finally trying to come together against the forces of fame, intense creativity, and human nature? Maybe it's just a hot jam and it works. Leave me a comment, tell me what you think. Like and follow for more songwriting history.